welcome back. My name is Kelsey. I'm Kelsey Yogi here on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Today we are getting on our hands because I'm going to show you how to take flight with flying crow. So this is a tough one. It's really hard because you're putting all the weight onto one side. That arm that is not got the weight on it, it tends to get a little wobbly and it doesn't want to hold its own half of the weight. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips that really help me to really find that lift and feel brave in flying crow, because we all worry about smashing our face down on the ground, and you know what? It does happen. If you're really worried about falling and smashing your face, put a pillow down. Couch pillows are a nice size. Do it on carpet. You don't have to be down here like I am on a hard floor, but you have to be willing to fly a little bit. And sometimes when we fall, we crash. It just happens. So I want you to find your bravery. If flying crow is something that you want to give a go. All right, so first of all, you have to have a very strong, regular crow, kakasana. You want to feel nice and balanced, so you could stay there for at least 30 seconds because lifting up one leg is going to be really challenging. A lot of times what happens is you start to lift that leg, the arms start to wobble because they're not working, together unanimously, and then you tend to just drop down on that arm that's not holding the weight anymore. So I know a lot of people like to use a strap, but let me first show you what flying crow looks like. So you start off in your regular crow, knees on the tops of the triceps. If knees are on the outsides of the arms, flying crow is just going to be really, really difficult because stacking the bones is going to take a lot of that weight out of your hands and your shoulders because the bones are just carrying some of their own weight. I would definitely suggest working on getting a nice, very deep squat, knees to the triceps and not to the outer edges. And the higher that you can get those legs up the arms, the better it's going to be because they're already going to slide a little bit anyways. And if you want a really high flying crow, then you've got to have the knees as high as you can to start with because they'll slide. All right, so starting in your regular crow pose, shifting forward, lifting the feet up. Now you have to decide which leg you're going to lift, bring the weight to the other side, and fly. Okay, so I know some people have said, well, my elbows flare out. Yeah, the elbows like to flare out. And so we have to draw them in. So when you start to fly up and you start to get this one arm flies out, you're going to fall. That's what's gonna happen. You're going to go down. I suggest that if you know you're going down, resist gravity. I know that sounds like, well, duh, Kelsey, I don't wanna fall on my face. But fall as slow and controlled as you can because what goes down is very often the same muscles that what helps us to take flight and go up. So go slow. Anytime you're falling out of crow, resist because it will help you when you're trying to lift up. So a lot of people have thought, oh, well, I'm going to use a strap. And it does kind of work because it stops those elbows from flaring out. But what I would suggest instead is that you work those internal rotators, working those lats to keep everything drawing in towards the midline. Try to be very aware and think, is my elbow starting to flare out? Maybe you need to start with your hands slightly turned out. That way the elbows already want to come in, the shoulders can open up. Because if you start with the hands facing in, the elbows want to drop out. You don't have the strength through your shoulders. So yeah, maybe a little turn out of the hands, that might work. But here's why I don't suggest using a strap, because it's just a modification for the posture and it's not you finding your strength, and that's really what we're wanting to go for. But if straps are for you, then go ahead and feel free to try it. You'll want it just over the elbows. That way they can't flare out too much. Mine's a little stretchy, but it will still do the trick. And the reason why I don't like it, besides you not finding your own strength, which is what we're wanting, if you go to fall, you don't have a quick release. And I say the same thing about Pachamayurasana. You want a safe, quick escape. If you're going down, you want to be able to lift one arm, and you're not going to be able to as easily when your arms are strapped together. See, I'm going down, well, they're tethered. So while it's a nice idea, I would rather you think about squeezing a block with your elbows because then you're really working on that internal strength rather than everything just being held together for you. But it is an option and feel free to use it. But what I would suggest instead, if you're working on finding that strength for flying crow, finding that unilateral strength, is to drop one leg in between. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this super well because my hair gets in the way. But when you're working on your crow, in the beginning, and I think I've done this in one of my other videos where I demonstrated crow stuff. I'll lift my hair so that you can see my stash of hair ties nearby. I think I had like a crow exercise video. So if you want to try that out, this could be a great way to gain strength for flying crow. So when you come into your crow pose, just drop one leg in between the arms. Can you see that this leg is in between? And hold it for as long as you can, up to 30 seconds. And like I said, slowly, 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 slowly resist gravity as you fall. And of course, you gotta work both sides. So whatever you put in on the right, you gotta put it on the left. Otherwise, you're gonna have this one beefy shoulder and the other shoulder that's not gonna be able to hold you at all. So if you held it for 20 or 30 seconds on your strong arm, maybe you can't do 20 or 30 seconds on your weaker arm, but you could do 10 or 15. Do what you can. Hover that leg in between. See how my hands are slightly facing out? Elbows can draw in. Bring that leg in. Hold it as long as you can. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come down to the floor. So that's a really great way to get used to having one leg on an arm in that regular kakasana shape, and yet the other leg is hovering. And honestly, I think in ways that can be even harder than lifting that leg up. Because when that leg comes down, it wants to sink to the floor. So you really have to think about pushing the floor away and really engaging the core to keep that leg from touching down. Sorry. So I would definitely work on that one-sided crow pose at least, once or twice a week, which is a really nice way to gain strength from side to side, not having the whole body work together as a team. Just that unilateral strength, it's huge. It's huge for inversions. Plus, you're really able to see like, wow, this side is not carrying its weight. This side's doing a lot more work. I need to balance this out. This side needs to put in a little bit more work. So work on hovering one leg between the arms, okay? That can make a huge difference in helping you find flight. Once you're feeling pretty good about it, don't expect to stay in that one-legged crow, flying crow, for as long as you could. As a regular crow, it's a lot harder. It's so much harder. So if you find any flight at all, find your breath, get calm. It probably won't last super long, at least I know mine don't, and just celebrate those small victories. In the beginning, and I know my leg did not get straight, for the first year or two that I was able to find flying crow. Instead, I just bent the back leg up. Let me show you. So hands down, maybe hands slightly face out, elbows draw in. So important, elbows draw in, elbows flaring out. You're just not gonna be able to hold it, elbows draw in, but not so close that they're pinching, they're shoulders width, okay? Elbows are shoulders width, not any farther. So when you first find that flying crow, let's see how I'm shifting forward, a little grip with the fingers, feet fly up. Now I wanna start flying. In the beginning, I'm gonna shift that weight to the left, and just lift that right leg. It doesn't have to straighten, it just lifts behind me, and then you can lower it down. Work both sides, even if you don't want to, but let yourself start with a bent leg. It doesn't have to have this pretty pointed toe, the leg can be bent, but you lifted it. And just the idea of shifting the weight to one arm and lifting the opposite leg, I'm telling you, it's super, super tough. So be proud of yourself, even if you're like, wow, I went up and boom, I came right back down. That can be scary, and you did it. Be proud of yourself. So I'm balancing it out. Gotta do both sides here. Shift, grip, lift. And now I shift over to the right, find that balance, and start to lift that left leg. Before too long, you're gonna be able to get that top lifted leg straight. It's not all gonna happen at once, but when you do find that flight and the leg starts to straighten, then you have to think to yourself, what do I need to engage and where? And one of the things that you'll need to engage in order to get that nice straight leg is you really have to activate the quadricep and lift that kneecap, because even with a nice lifted leg, it tends to look a little bit bent, because our knees bend. So we have this lifted leg that kind of looks like this, and we're like, dang. Instead, activate that quadricep, push through the heel or the toe, and really lift through the back of the knee. So actively push through the back of the knee to straighten out that leg as best you can. You don't need to hyperextend. In likelihood, you won't with a leg that's lifted up, but engage, 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 lift and lengthen. There's going to be a shift forward that happens. Keep pushing the floor away and lift that extra energy up into that back leg. And practice, practice, practice. So I assure you that my first flying crows looked like the leg barely lifted off of the knee, the leg was bent, and I probably crashed pretty quickly. So persistency and just being accepting that it's going to be a struggle and you can overcome these struggles, that's how it gets there. We like hard things, right? So we show up for them all the time. I think last time I lifted the right leg, so shift to the right, really lift through that left leg. And then you can get to the point where maybe you can start to alternate legs. Sometimes it's hard because as you go to put the straight and lifted leg back on the tricep, it flares out to the side. So it can be a little tricky to get both legs to lift, but hey, it's part of the journey, okay? Anyway, I hope that helped you. If you give that a try on Instagram or TikTok, I'd love to see what you're doing. Please tag me at Kelsey Yogi on either of those accounts. Follow me if you don't already. Let me know what you want to see next time. Add that in the comments. Share this with your friends on social media. Drink your water. Be good people. And have a great day, guys. Oh, subscribe. Subscribe here too. See you later. Bye-bye. Namaste.